time is now 6:02 in the Spring Lake Board of Aldermen. Work session is now called to order. I'd like to invite Ms. Betty Sanford to the podium to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Please stand if you'd like.
Praise the Lord, everybody.
Heavenly Father, as we come before you this evening, we come with the heart of thanksgiving and a mouth of praise. We thank you, Lord, that you allowed us to travel over the dangerous highway. And Lord, as we begin this meeting, Heavenly Father, let it be a productive meeting, God, in the name of Jesus. And God, let us see the things that needs to be done in Spring Lake, in the name of Jesus. I ask your blessings upon each one that's at the table, in the name of Jesus. Our chief of police, in the name of Jesus, and our men and women of Spring Lake. I ask your blessings upon each one and to keep them safe in the name of Jesus. Lord, I thank you and I praise you and I give you honor and glory, and it's in Jesus' name. And let everybody say amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I definitely want to recognize you, Pastor Lathan. Thank you for coming. She was going to deliver our invitation and Pledge of Allegiance. I will now move on to agenda item 3, additions and deletions. So we do have a few things that need to be added and deleted. Alderman Lackman?
Mayor, I was just going to say that under additions and deletions, the new business for sales tax agreement, the new business discussion of the Hillside Cemetery, and then the presentation for Streetscapes Grant, Janelle Ackles.
Mm-hmm. She's Janine too.
Very good.
Thank you. Are there any other additions or deletions? Alderman Palacio?
Was that a motion? I second.
No motion required, just consensus.
Oh, okay.
If there are no more additions or deletions, I move for approval of the agenda. Now, Alderwoman Cooper.
So first, could you note where the items
you're
are?
absolutely right. Yes, ma'am. So we're going to move to new business, the sales tax agreement, and this discussion of Hillside Cemetery will go to. We will move those to E and F. And then the presentation will be B. Thank you, Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you. So I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the proposed changes.
Alderman Palacios?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We will now approve the consent items, the draft minutes from February 13th regular meeting. And we also have an appointment to the staff liaison for the Board of Adjustments, Ms. Patricia Hickman. Everybody calls her Lynn. Alderwoman Cooper.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem? Any discussion? Alderman Lackman.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Mrs. Hickman, thank you very much for serving on this board. It's very, very needed, and just want to tell you thank you that we appreciate you.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We will now move on to public comment. Now remember to come forward stating your name and address for the record. A total of 15 minutes will be allotted for this period total, and all speakers are limited to 3 minutes. So please be mindful of your time. Mr. Lemon will be keeping track of that time and will let you know when your time is about to expire. We will begin with Ms. Deidre Parker, and this is about cleanup on Chapel Hill Road.
Your Honor, to everyone that's on the stand. And I'd just like to say that the cleanup that, at 143 on Chapel Hill Road, they had tore the house down beside my house, and they left quite a bit of debris. That is a snake infested area because of the, water and everything that's around there. And I'd just like to know that if someone is gonna come and complete that, cleanup before, you know, the snakes and stuff really start coming out, because we have had some warm weather. And, I also have something about the cleanup about the casket that's hanging outside of the, graveyard over there. There's, you know, there's no tomb, what do you call it, no, tomb or anything that's in it. It's just sitting there, and it's kind of rusted out, and, you know, when it rains, you know, that fetus and all of that just comes out of there. And I have some concerns about it because I live in that area, and I thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Sanford? Much? You got a lot to talk about? I thought it said mulch at first.
Don't time me.
We have to, Ms. Sanford.
You live right down the street.
Uh-oh.
I have some things that I want to talk about. Talk about the roads, and, the chief and I have already said a few things about it, so he's gonna be working on it. And the houses, it's just atrocious. Ride through the neighborhood, Mayor. All y'all, just ride through the neighborhood and see all this mess in these people's yards, and they actually live there. That needs to be cleaned up. Cars everywhere. You know, they are not covered. It's just cars that's in the yard. Some been wrecked and all of that. They're in the yard. These things need to be cleaned up. Okay? The other thing is those trees, the limbs are on the wires. That needs to be taken care of. Because if I happen to be driving through there and one fall on my car, I'm coming to get all of you. The other thing is the bus system. We need to get that bus system back here, because we have elderly people that need the buses. They need to get from point A to point B. You see, you know, yes, some of us in the neighborhood help these elderly people get to their doctor's appointments. But sometimes we can't do it because we have appointments. We have things to do. So we need to get the buses back. I see y'all shaking your head, but I'm serious. We need to get some good food, not that fast food stuff. You know, Chick-fil-A is fine. We need to get a Chick-fil-A. I love that. And we need to get a bowling alley. You know, something for the kids. Everything that we do, it goes to Fayetteville. And that shouldn't be. I live in Spring Lake. But everything goes to Fayetteville. We go to bowling, we got to go to Fayetteville. Go skate, we got to go to Fayetteville. You know, that shouldn't be. We should have some of these things here. Nice restaurants, you know. Yes, I go to Ruby Tuesday, but hey, we need some nice restaurants. And so, y'all work on those things. I'm serious, because I see every last one of you. And when I see you, I'm going to say, what you doing? And you know I call. Okay? All right, y'all take care now.
Thank you. All right, we'll now move on to agenda item 7, our presentations, and we'll begin with Cumberland Community Development, Ms. Devon. Oh no, I'm sorry, Ms. Dolores. You're sitting right there, and I jumped to Devon presented last time. Devon brought us gifts, so we wanted to bring her to the platform.
Good evening. Let me make sure I can see here. Okay. I'm Dee Taylor, and I'm the director at Cumberland County Community Development. Yes, last year, Ms. Devin Newton, the community services manager, was here to present information about our programs that we have to offer, and in case you had residents that missed it, we're back again to present that information to you. So the Community Development Department, again, is a department under the Cumberland County agency, and we are responsible for administering programs that are funded through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And so we do that by, through partnerships, expand affordable housing in our community, also expand public services as well as economic development activities. And so there are two main grants that we receive through HUD, and that is the Community Development Block Grant and the Home Investment Partnership Grant. And then through a competitive process, we apply for what we call the Continuum of Care Program. Again, all of these are through HUD, and we use these grants to provide a wide variety of activities, which I'm going to go into. So first with the Community Development Block Grant, before we can put funding towards any project or activity, it has to meet one of the three national objectives, and that is it has to either benefit low to moderate income persons, eliminate slum and blighted areas, or meet an urgent need. So with our CDBG funds, at least 70% of the funds that we expend have to benefit low to moderate income persons. So our focus is the low to mod residents in Cumberland County. With our home funds, the overall goal is to provide affordable housing, again, for the low to moderate income households. We normally do this through, we depend on partnership with developers and nonprofit organizations, such as community housing development organizations. And in fact, which I'll talk about a project that we currently have going on in this Spring Lake area. So we'll start with our housing programs. Our main program is the housing rehabilitation program and the minor repair program. This program is offered to owners and occupants of a home that is located in the Cumberland County area. So most of our programs, we target those projects and activities that are going to be in Cumberland County outside the city limits of Fayetteville. So, so it has to meet the location requirements as well as the income limit requirements. Again, this is for those who are low to moderate income. And then the other requirements, we do just about any type of repairs to bring the home up to standard. We're not there to beautify, this is not a home makeover project, but this is again to bring the home up to standards. So it covers a wide variety of repairs such as roofs, flooring, plumbing, electrical, all those main components. And through our minor repair, we address those small repairs with our grant of up to, that cover repairs of up to $10,000. And so that particular grant you do not have to pay back, as well as the housing rehab program, which address the more substantial repairs. And that particular program you do not have to pay back as well. It is offered in the form of deferred forgivable loan to the owner of the home. And how we carry out the project, the activities, we don't do the repairs ourselves, we actually bid it out to contractors. So let's just give you an example of before and after pictures. I think with this particular home, we also made it ADA compliant. The homeowner needed grab bars, ramps added to the home, and we addressed the flooring issue, and of course, like I said, electrical issues. Another housing rehab program that we have targets those investor owners. So these are your landlords who is looking for funding to acquire and rehab a home that they plan to rent out. Now, the thing is that the tenant must be low to moderate income. And so we offer this in various forms, financial assistance forms. The first is we offer a low interest loan. That is, again, just targeting the low to moderate income tenant. The other form of assistance we offer is deferred forgivable, But in that form, the applicant or the investor owner will have to target what we call a special population group. So they have to, the tenant would either have to be homeless, an elderly resident, or elderly tenant, or a, let's see, a large family of 5 or more. And I think that pretty much cover the special population. So if they plan to house either one of those that meet that special population group, then they can apply for the deferred forgivable loan, so they would not have to pay that back. And that's pretty popular. Now with our housing rehab programs, right now we do sort of have like a wait list because we have gotten so many applications, and we have very little contractors available, and limited staff as well. So there is a little bit of a wait list, but we don't want to discourage anyone from applying still, so that way they can at least get on the list, and we'll hopefully eventually get to their application once we can get some more contractors. Another housing program we offer is the home buyers program. This, again, the property must be located in Cumberland County and be used as a principal residence, and the applicant, again, must be low to moderate income. But before they come to apply for our funding, in which we offer in the form of a low interest loan, and this is for, they can use this funding for down payment assistance or closing costs, and to go towards the purchase of a home. Now it's up to $25,000, of which $5,000 can be used again for closing costs or down payment assistance. But the first thing they'll need to do is take the home buyers workshop. This is currently offered through Kingdom Community Development Corporation. And once they've done that, they also need to apply, of course, for their main loan through a local lender. And what will happen, that local lender can contact us if needed, if they find out that their applicant need additional funding to go towards the purchase of the home, or if they need down payment of closing costs, they could contact us, and we can, they'll send their package, and then we can see if the applicant will qualify for our program as well. Again, we partner with developers, including nonprofit developers, to build affordable housing that target low to moderate income residents. And just to give you an example, we've partnered with a developer, United Developers, to build like the Spring Lake Green Apartments that is across the street from the library. We also partnered with Kingdom Community Development Corporation, provided funding for them to build several housing units that's located right around the corner this way, the Elizabeth Street, to target, first they're going to target low to moderate income home buyers. And if those properties are not so within a certain time frame, then they'll convert it to rental properties. But it's still made available for those who meet the low income criteria. And this is just to give you an example of some of the, this particular project that you see on the picture on the left, it used to be a mobile home park right there on Chapel Hill Road. And then Kingdom Community Development applied for funding for us to build those single family homes, where a couple of them were sold to low income home buyers, and the remaining units were made rental properties, and they're still building. So we also use our CDBG funds to, like I said, expand public services in the available area. That's through partnership with, again, nonprofits or local units of government. So every year we put out a request for proposal, and matter of fact, we do have one out now that is due the 15th, right? Yes, to our office. And so we are allowed to set aside 15% of our allocation to go towards public services. Now, our allocation every year averages about 8 to 900,000 a year in CDBG, and our home funds about 3 to 500,000. But we also occasionally receive additional funding from HUD for special initiative projects, or we receive funding from paybacks from our loans that we offer. And so we set aside some funding for different public services. Again, that's offered to, the funding is offered to nonprofits or local units of government to provide for a wide variety of services that target low to moderate income persons. We also have partnered with municipalities to provide water and sewer. We partnered with the town of Spring Lake in the past to put sewer in a couple of the areas in the Spring Lake area. And you can also use the funding for acquisition rehabilitation for other types of like public facilities like community centers and what have you. We also, again, applied for funding through the Continuum of Care program to offer a transitional and a permanent supportive housing for homeless persons. We currently manage a, Robbins Meadow Transitional Housing Program, where we offer 12 units, apartment-style units, for families, homeless families with children. We do not charge rent. They do not pay utilities, but they're allowed to stay there for up to 12 months. And they work with a case manager to basically work on their program goals to reach housing stability. And so during their time in the program, they work to basically just try to clean up their, if they had debt or like a criminal record or what have you. It's just to help them get a clean slate before they're able to find permanent housing in the local area. And so the case manager would sit down with them and develop what we call a individual service plan. And so their first goal, of course, is to find permanent housing. Most of the time their second goal is to increase their income, and then anything else, whether it's reaching educational goals or what have you. But it has been very successful. We've been able to house many families, put them into permanent housing. The other program that we have is the permanent supportive housing. It's called Safe Homes for New Beginnings, and that's through partnership with Cumberland Interfaith. We pay for leasing 5 units from the organization to house homeless individuals that have a substance use disorder. And that program has been successful as well. And other activities, we try to provide information on fair housing through partnership with the Human Relations Department. And we hold citizen participation meetings if there's any churches or groups that would like for us to come out and provide information on our programs. We'll be happy to come out. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them now, or you can always reach us at the number listed and address provided. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor. That was some great and much needed information, and I'm sure I'm not the only one with questions. So we will begin with you, Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a question. Oh, well, this question came up right away. Do you all intend to put satellite offices in any of the other municipalities other than Fayetteville?
Not at this time. We don't have any. You mean for the community development department, or
Right,
for?
so that people can have access to your services. You know, I know Fayetteville's a big municipality, but you know, you're supposed to be serving everyone.
Yes.
In every municipality, so, you know, I would think that you will consider putting some satellite offices up. I don't know if they needed to move around, but I think out of fairness to all of us, that should happen.
I understand. Well, that's, we'll make note of that.
We do have the resource center. We have a county building out here that has space. We would love to have, because that was one of my major questions was, how do we get this information, or how are you guys actively moving to get this information out to local residents? And what can we do to participate in that? But the meeting and definitely a satellite office would be awesome.
Okay, sure.
Awesome process.
Thank you, Mayor. So the website is gonna be the Cumberland County website for this, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and, it was on the screen, but for those at home, the phone number for, the community development is 910-323-6112. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I did have a question about the public facilities and infrastructure. Could you explain that program a bit more and how the municipalities can get involved? Are the funds for matching funds, or what can we use them for?
Yes, yes. So we currently have a RFP out now, that includes, soliciting, agencies that want to apply for funding for public facilities. I believe we indicated that we have about 200,000 available, for that, particular, program. If you're interested in applying for the funding, you can just contact our office and we'll send you an application and the guidelines. And you'll just complete that application, submit it back to our office by the deadline date. And then we'll follow up with the selection committee will review all the applications received and score and rank those applications based on the criteria that's indicated. So, again, it's used for any, wide variety of activities. And occasionally, even if your application wasn't selected that round, we still like to keep it on hold because occasionally we get, like I said, additional funding, and we don't like to keep money just sitting there. So we try to go back to those particular projects and say, we'll contact the agency or the municipality, say, hey, are you still interested in using our funding, and do you still need it? And so we hold on to those projects as backup, in other words.
Awesome. Yes, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem?
I just want to know, do you have any brochures or anything with you available? Because I know some businesses here that will probably appreciate knowing this information.
We're currently updating our brochure, but I do have copies of the slides that I can provide to them for now. I can leave it, I'll leave it out front if you like it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And as well, if you guys have any digital marketing materials, we can share on our website,
Okay,
which
sure.
can link back to the county's website.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor. Appreciate you.
Sure. Thank you
you.
for having me.
All right, we will move on to our next presentation, which will be Ms. Janine Eccles. She's going to talk about our Streetscapes grant. Hey, I'm so excited about this.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Janine Eccles. I am a grant writer and a grant consultant for Grantastic Consulting. That's what I do for a living, so I know this stuff pretty good, and I appreciate all of the information she just gave, because that's a lot of information that I use to even disseminate to my clients. So thank you so much for that as well. In speaking with, I met with Mayor Anthony maybe a little over a month ago about this rural transformation grant. I thought it would be a great fit for the town of Spring Lake. I just brought in $800,000 for the town of Rocky Mount for this same project. So this is something that I know that could be used here. And one of the reasons that made me see it is I came down here for a meeting. I think the chamber had something, and I looked at the downtown area, and I thought, I didn't even realize that was the downtown area. So, I mean, not, being that way, but I really just didn't. And when I realized the need that you all had, I knew that this would be a perfect fit. So, It is through the North Carolina Department of Commerce. It is through community block development grants as well. However, they do have money set aside just for these types of programs. I've been in touch with one of the people that is over the program just to see how much they still have available, and they have quite a bit available. So it will be opening back up here this coming month, March. So that's 2 days from now. But they're not telling us which day they're actually opening up. They do that every time. But they only leave it open for 2 months. But I will tell you, the grant does take, it's not a lot of, it's not as much narrative as it is just making sure we have the right information. So that would just take a concerted effort on us bringing things together, such as making sure we have maps and things to show where we're going to expand the downtown area, so that we can get some of the things that our young lady here was talking about, the bowling alleys and things of that nature, because they want to come to an attractive area, just to keep that real. So those are things that we have, that's what's available right now. My role in this is that I am going to be writing this grant for you all. I am doing it up front without, you all don't have to pay me a dime. We checked with all the people that we needed to make sure that you all could get that done. So that's where I'm at, because I do believe that the town of Spring Lake, I don't live here. I live in that other municipality next door, but however, I do believe that there's a lot to be said, and if all of our towns are not together, then our whole county falls apart. So I believe in the fact that you guys can get this money, we can make this happen. It just is going to take a concerted effort from everybody on the council, as well as those in the other departments here, to get us the information. If I get all the information, I promise you we are going to make this happen. And that's not the only grant that's available. We have so many more, not just for the streetscape. We have stuff for just making downtown look good, the different buildings downtown. We have, and the same grant actually allows you to do things like create jobs. And they also, and I don't know if you guys have worked with the Golden Leaf Foundation before, but they are also partnered with this grant. And they also have some stuff open right now to allow you guys to get even more. So it is very, very, I'm very excited to be able to just be a part of your team, to be able to push you all to the next level, because I do believe that this is going to change the face of Spring Lake. And I just ask that everyone, we all work together, we get there. I'm just kind of introducing who I am, because no one actually knew me. So tonight you all know me, and I'm excited to be here. And any questions that you all have for me on this information, and if you have questions now, you can give them to me. I'm sure I'll be able to answer them about anything that has to do with related to this grant, or just ongoing relationships and things like that.
Awesome. Well, first, thank you from the bottom of my heart. When you approached me with this, amongst other things, I was floored. Ms. Ackles and I have worked together on other projects, but to see her passion for growth and development in Spring Lake was mind-boggling. She's really excited about this, and when she came to me with the proof, like, look, now. So I am so excited to welcome you into our humble town, and I cannot wait to see where the funding you get for us is going to take this town. Thank you. So, Alderman Palacios.
Thank you, Mayor. So thank you for being here, Ms. Eccles, and thank you for reaching out to the mayor and getting this started. The mayor brought this up to the board, I think, informally, and so, but this is the first time, we're seeing this information,
Yes.
and I do see, where qualified census tract.
Yes, you are.
Some of the eligibility criteria here, just quickly glancing at this. And you did make mention that this wouldn't cost the town anything up front. I think that's something that's incorporated into the grant.
We
Is that
will
right?
incorporate it into the
Based on the
grant.
funding?
Yes.
Okay. So if the grant isn't funding, you don't get paid. Accurate?
Correct, but I'm willing to take the risk, because I believe,
It's worth the risk.
it is a risk, but one of the things I do, outside of just being a grant writer, I'm also a community advocate. So
Okay.
this is just like twofold for me. So, and I do see that the need is here. So it's helping me to be able to do some of my community advocacy along with my business as well. But either way, it's a win-win situation.
And that's Grantastic Consulting.
Yes. Yes. Have a grantastic time.
Okay. And I'm not giving you an interview. I know you said you helped Rocky Mount with 800,000. Were there other municipalities you've been able to do with this program yet, or?
Yes, there's not with this particular program. This
Okay.
is the first time at this program. But other municipalities, I have been able to help them with other means of getting grants with different government programs and community block development ones.
Well, thank you. That's my time.
Okay. Thank you. Alderwoman Cooper?
Thank you so much, and I did know who you were. So, that is the difference. I appreciate you coming here. You know, I think one of my favorite words is grant. It's probably my very favorite word, and I'm excited. And I also told my esteemed colleagues in Rocky Mount, don't call you because you're busy. So
They're still calling, trust me.
well, you know, I might have to go do something like that, but I do tell them, don't call you because you're busy. You're gonna be helping us, and I appreciate it. And you know, they got theirs already, so we just, you know.
Oh, I'm excited. I am, and I know that it's a great project, and that's, like I said, that's just first of many that will come you all's way. And I just feel like because of the things that have happened, I think that to me, I felt like it would be an insult to come in and ask for a bunch of money to get started. So I felt like if we could work together, get you the monies and do what we need to do and show that Spring Lake is a vital part of Cumberland County. That's what we want to do, because, you know, people coming from the other side, they're coming in through here before they ever hit Fayetteville.
Right.
So, you know, if they can come through here and see how great it is here, that's a good look for us. So I'm about the county.
Awesome. Alderwoman Thompson?
Oh, I just want to say thank you, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions, discussion? Mayor Pro Tem?
I don't really have any discussion or question. I just want to say thank you, because that is a great concern, not only to us, but to the community as well. You know, it's kind of like an eyesore, and with you coming in with this information, I think it's going to do wonderful things for the town of Spring Lake. So thank you for thinking about us and making it know that you want to help us. So
Absolutely. And we appreciate your passion. But what I would like to do, if this is appropriate, go ahead and get a consensus now to instruct staff to provide Ms. Ackles with whatever information she may need to go ahead and get started on this. Does the board object to that? So we'll go ahead and allow staff to work directly with Ms. Ackles to provide her every bit of information she needs in a timely manner. Provide it to her before she knows she needs it, so we can get the money as fast as possible.
I will provide you with a list of the things that we need, and you just tell me who I need to work with to get that information from.
Awesome. So I'll make sure that our manager, Mr. Williams, has your direct contact information so that you guys can become besties.
We can.
And we can make this, you know, a long and beautiful relationship.
I look forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, that's Keep up the money. I'll give you a card. So now we'll move on to agenda item 8, new business, and we will begin with our legislative priorities. And this is for informational purposes. I just wanted to make sure that the town knew that we did have a chance to meet with our full delegation. I let you guys know before that we met with Representative Lucas and other members of the Cumberland County delegation. Well, last week we also had the chance to speak with Senator McInnes, and we provided with him our legislative priorities. So I wanted to just make sure that the public knew what our plans were, what we are petitioning the state to help us get funding for, and if you want a copy of it, it was emailed out with the agenda. And so I'm just gonna go over the 7 bullet points, but it is a bit more detailed in the agenda package. So our first legislative priorities, and these are not in any sort of order by precedence. Invest in infrastructure and public works projects to maintain and improve the roads, bridges, public parks and public parks in the area. 2, we want to promote and incentivize businesses to create jobs and spur economic growth. We want to increase funding and resources for public safety, including police, fire, and emergency services. We want to enhance and expand public transportation. Miss Betty, we listen. Enhance and expand public transportation options to improve access to jobs, health care, and other services. We want to strengthen regulations to protect environmental and natural resources. Guys, we have a huge Munsterberg Park and we have a state park here. We need to be paying more attention to our environment. Increase access to affordable housing and rental assistance. And we want to increase access to social services and programs for our vulnerable population. So those are a few of the items that we are currently petitioning our legislators for. They asked for our top 3 and we said we don't have a top 3. We've got a top 20, and so we're going to give you those most important ones that can start laying the foundation for us to get to the position where we can bring in the bowling alleys, the movie theaters, clean up the Blythe. But there's a lot of infrastructure work, a lot of groundwork, and there was tons of internal work before we could even set foot outside these doors to fix anything in the community. There was so much backside on the back office work that had to be put in order, and the staff has been working. I mean, they have been burning the midnight oil to get things in place. And I'll talk a bit more about that once we get down to our board updates. But your board, the staff, we are working diligently for you. And you may not see it yet, but I promise you, like I said, we can't build a new house on a broken foundation, and we didn't have a foundation. So we're building our foundation right now, and I promise you, you will start to see the fruits of our labor here soon, but government runs really, really slowly. But we're moving fast for government, I promise you that. We're moving at lightning speed. So those are our legislative priorities. Alderman Lackman?
Mayor, hopefully we'll have this handout at the front desk so that those people that come into town hall would like a copy of this so that they can see the different projects, because you just went over the points, but not the bullet points that are listed below there. And with the ideas of the public out there, that's great, because this is all being done for you. And so with your ideas, and that allows us to work on the implementation of those ideas. So again, citizens out there, please, we hear you.
Absolutely. And so I have already instructed Carly to have this put on our website. We will be releasing this in form of a press release so that everyone will have a copy of it, not just for you to know, but for you to hold us accountable. We need you to follow that checklist too and say, hey guys, get this one done too. So with your input, your suggestions, it helps us, one, better represent our community, but like I said, holds our feet to the fire so that we're making sure that we're getting things done. Miss Betty, I promise you we're trying. Is there any discussion on that? Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say that, there's a lot of work that has to be done under, all the layers have to be put in place. We're working on policies across the whole city, the whole town. So we are working, and we want to make things better. We want to continue to bring opportunity to Spring Lake, and we do hear you. I promise you, we hear you. If you tell me something, I am going to the right person and relaying that information immediately. So keep talking to us, and if we can make it happen, we will do it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other discussion? Awesome. We will move on to agenda item 8B, our resolution 2023-3, amending the Spring Lake Community Appearance and Sustainability Committee bylaws. Alderman Palacios.
Thank you, Mayor. So this was brought before the board at our last meeting, and the suggestion was to have the attorney kind of review it, make sure that we're in line. The objective here is to change the bylaws to increase the amount of seats available on the appearance committee, and also a clarification statement that the board approves and appoints people to the board of the committee and can remove people from the board of the committee. So with that, I'll open it up for discussion, please.
Is there any discussion?
Mayor, I make a motion we approve the resolution 2023-3 amending the Spring Lake Community Appearance and Sustainability Committee bylaws.
I'm sorry, I do have discussion, just for clarification. We did, this one, our attorney did say this was absolutely okay, to do this, just for total transparency's sake. He said this was appropriate. This is correct.
You can do it, it's up to you all whether you want to do it, but yes, I mean, just to be clear, my judgment does not, override your judgment, it's just, can you do it? Yes.
Okay. Motion still stands?
Motion, okay. You made the motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I second the motion, and I do wanna thank you for, this work.
Any discussion? Alderman Lackman.
Yes, Mayor. As Alderman Palacios stated here, this does increase the members from 5 to 7. So this does allow more input from our community out there. You know, again, this is a good thing. If we got people that want to serve on this committee, we'd love to have you. Spring Lake is getting better. Spring Lake is looking much better. And so with your help, with your buy-in, this is great. So Alderman Palacios, thank you.
Absolutely phenomenal. Alderman Palacios?
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, Alderman Lackman. The appearance committee is moving. You know, we have Tim here who also comes to our meetings, and anybody that wants to join or be a part of the committee or wants to even share their recommendations, feel free to reach out to us. The appearance committee is working on a lot of exciting things, one of which is we're repackaging our Adopt a Street program. We are working on a mural. We have an RFP for proposals for a mural in downtown Spring Lake that we opened up. That information can be found on our website, townofspringlake.com/community initiatives. And we also have our Earth Day cleanup coming up April 22nd. So this committee has been working great, and I don't want kind of some of the opinion that was out there about this change to the charter to be negative. This has nothing to do with the work and the progress of this committee. But thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely. Alderwoman Thompson?
And I just want to say for the public, if they can attend the meetings because they are public. So if you want to attend, you can attend the meetings as well.
So that means open to suggestion. You just don't, you're just not allowed to vote, but you are all allowed to participate in the discussion and come and observe. And again, I want to jump on that bandwagon to congratulate you. You really have been pushing this committee to do some really big things, and it shows, and the community sees it, and thank you. I'm going to win that Yard of the Month this year. Come on, I'm up for it.
If I see your name on there, I'm going to take it off. You can't win. This board cannot win Yard of the Month. But no, the committee is great. They do all the work, really. You know, I'm just there to help. So, but I'll relay your guys' appreciation to the committee.
Thank you. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries to amend those bylaws. All right, we will move on to agenda item 8C, the draft ordinance, chapter 16, environment, article 5, the donation box. Ms. Hickman. I know, this is so awesome. The things you get excited about.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Board of Aldermen. So the staff had a consensus with the board to draft this ordinance for donation boxes. So in your package, you'll find the draft ordinance. It breaks down as the definitions, the placement. It also tells you of the real property is actually the permit holder, and the real property owner will be responsible of cleaning up, okay, around the donation boxes. You know, any appeals will go to the town manager. It is written that if they're in violation, that it will be part of the nuisance ordinance that already existed. Attorney Porter has reviewed this ordinance and gave the approval, of the language, but this is not a restricted ordinance. Okay, just don't go into the zoning of the uses and what zoning districts, that donation boxes, this is just to maintain and permit. Okay, is there any questions?
Alderwoman Cooper.
I'm so happy. I'm just giddy about this because, you know, this has been a problem for a while. And you and staff have just done, this is the prettiest little thing I've seen. So thank you. My only question is, what is the permitting cost?
Right now, there is no cost since LGC oversees our budget. Maybe we could shoot for 24 budget to add a cost in, because amendment would have to be due to the budget ordinance for fees scheduled right now.
Well,
So maybe this is something that we can do for fees. You know, $100 a box is a lot of municipals is charging, but I mean, that's something we sure can look at in 24.
Yes.
Preparing.
thank you. I'm so just happy about this right here.
Rock,
So thank you all. Everybody who worked on this. You all did amazing.
Well, the staff would be Chief Williams, Miss Carly, and Spellman, and then myself.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah,
Alderman Palacios.
Thank you, Mayor. So I had a question about the yearly or the annual renewal.
Yes.
So an application does have to be done. Is there going to be a yearly cost also, other than the upfront cost?
Just the upfront cost for the permit, sir.
Okay, so the renewal will just be an application based. All right, and I did want to say thank you because going through this, all of this makes sense. And it was easy to understand, and I just commend you. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
yes.
You're quite welcome.
Alderman Lackman.
Mrs. Hickman, thank you. Staff, thank you very much. I went through it and I read this line by line, word by word, and it does make sense. And this is not done to eliminate the donation boxes out there. We have heard you all, that people dump stuff off at, in, near, around these boxes, and it has created blight, it has created a stain on Spring Lake. And there are a number of organizations that you can donate items to, not just these boxes. So this is not meant to do away with the boxes. This is just meant to make and get these in line with keeping Spring Lake and to beautify Spring Lake. So for the folks out there, this is not meant to get rid of the boxes. This is to clean up our town.
Absolutely. To do things the new Spring Lake way.
Yes, the new Spring Lake way.
Mr. Porter.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood what she just said. It's more of a maintenance ordinance. And to be clear, if you look at the standards, really the town manager, unless there was a prior history of bad conduct, would almost have to, unless there was some other ordinance that it would be in violation of, like a zoning ordinance, the town manager would almost have to approve it. There's no criteria for saying like, oh, well, you're already next, you're 3 streets down from 2 other boxes or anything like that. So anybody who wants a donation box to try to help some charity is going to get approved unless there's some other reason. I think that's what she's trying to say. This is more about policing after it's already there, or if someone already has a bad history at this location. So it's more of a policing and enforcement mechanism, which is why if you look at the standards, the criteria for denying, basically re-upping the permit, has to do with violations of, it's basically being an eyesore. That's really what it is. So I just want to make sure that the public understands that, but also that the board understands that. I can't imagine under this ordinance there really being any scenario where if someone wanted a donation box, they've never had one before, where they would be denied. They're going to be granted the box, or the right to have the box, but then if they didn't take care of it over a year, then those criteria would apply.
I see the only stipulation is no more than 2 donation boxes in one parking lot. So the parking lot can be more than 1 parcel, but as according to this particular ordinance is looked at as 1 lot. So, for example, Southwind, it's a two parcel lot. It's owned by two separate people. However, that area is one lot and only one donation box is allowed there.
That is correct, ma'am.
Awesome. Is there any other discussions, questions? Okay, so we will go ahead and take a general consensus again to approve this draft. That way we can go ahead and get it drafted up for public hearing and approval. Any, yes ma'am?
So moved.
Not a motion, just consensus. I love you guys ready to make the motion. Okay, well, we will go ahead and instruct staff to carry on and get us the copy for approval.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hickman, and thank you guys again. Do you see the joy you've brought to this board? And I hope the residents are happy about this too, because there's furniture and trash bags and all kinds of things where the donation boxes clearly states clothes and shoes, not living room tables and three-piece love seats and sofas. So this is a huge thing. So yeah, let's definitely work on getting that fee schedule in place because we need to have some consequences attached to violations.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stay right here because I have the next one.
Okay, yeah, we'll do the draft ordinance, chapter 34, streets and sidewalks. You're so awesome. Other public places and driveways, article 7, parking, maintaining, repairing commercial or industrial vehicles and equipment on private or public streets. Ms. Hickman.
Thank you. Again, this ordinance was drafted by our team here, okay, to sort of cut down all the parking on right-of-ways, dead-end roads, cul-de-sacs already in the town. So looking at this, yes, I included in your packet, there is a ordinance for Chapter 38, Traffic Vehicles, Article 5, which is stopping, standing, and parking. And it does speak in here about standing and parking certain, proposed prohibited, okay? But it's not a restricted ordinance. This ordinance that you see before you tonight is a restricted ordinance. So vehicles cannot park on right-of-ways. And the definitions are there. They're very, specific of what a cul-de-sac, a dead end, a private street, and a public street is. So this will be unlawful to park in any of those areas. Is there any questions from the board?
Are there any questions from the board? Can you repeat that one more time?
Yes, ma'am. This ordinance was drafted for no parking in towns right-of-ways, no cul-de-sac, dead ends, private streets, which is the private streets are on your right-of-ways, and then your public street right-of-ways, that you will not be able to park. Can I read those?
Yes, please.
Thank you, madam. It says, it shall be unlawful to park, maintain, repair equipment, semi-trailers, truck trailers, road trailers, or vans with a rated more than 2.5 ton of any travel trailer or recreation vehicle upon any right-of-way, sidewalks, cul-de-sacs, or dead-end street, except for the purpose of loading and unloading goods, merchandise, and other activities to and from such vehicles in the only period of time such operated is being carried out.
So basically, no more 18-wheelers, semi-trucks, or really big trucks parking or, overnighting at any private, or the areas that Ms. Hickman put out. Any discussion? Again, thank you for the hard work and dedication. This is something, it's a big problem, again, and we've heard the complaints of the residents repeatedly, and it's damaging our streets. It costs the town money. It's disturbing the residents. It's environmental pollutions. There are so many things connected to allowing these 18-wheelers and big trucks to be on our private streets. So thank you for putting this together. It's going to definitely help the town in the short and long term. Alderman Lassman?
Yes, Mayor, this has really torn up our streets. Not only short term, but long term as we go through here. You go out there and you see those divots where these vehicles have parked in there. And while you may not experience the potholes today and tomorrow, over the next several months, next several years, that's going to cost you, the taxpayers, to redo these roads. As we go through here, also, once this gets done, we want to hear from everybody, to include those that this affects. Come in and talk to us. Let us know, but we've got to look and do what's best for the town of Spring Lake and for the residents, not only for the safety, trying to look and avoid as things are out there. We've got trailers that have been sitting unattended for over a year out there on these roads that needs to be addressed. So thank you.
Absolutely, and Alderman Lackman brought up a great point, is we will have public hearings to hear from you before these ordinances are accepted or approved. We have the opportunity for you to come and speak for or against this ordinance, so let your voices be heard. If you are for this, come on out and tell us about it. If there is something that we're missing, let us know that too. So please, be involved. Alderwoman Cooper?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, thank you so much. This is exactly what we need and what I asked for. Because we've got to take care of our streets. You know, we don't have an endless amount of money, and so we have to take care of our streets and and our environment. So thank you again to you and any staff who assisted. You all are amazing.
Awesome. So we'll go ahead and do another consensus for allowing staff to do what they need to do to get this one taken care of as well. Yay. Any objections? Thank you, Ms. Hickman.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to
Thank you,
seeing the
board.
final
Thank you, Mayor.
copy. Thank you. All right, we will now move on to agenda item 8E. Okay, sales tax agreement. So we have been talking about Cumberland County switching us from per capita sales tax collection to ad valorem sales tax collection. This past weekend, a few members of the Mayor's Coalition were able to sit down with our Cumberland County Commissioners Chair and Vice Chair to discuss a possible extension for our sales tax agreement. The board was forwarded this information as soon as I received it Saturday morning, so they have it digital copy. We will make a copy of, if we decide to sign and approve this new sales tax agreement, then we will make it available for the public. But basically what it is it's extending the decision for them to move from per capita, them being the commissioners, from per capita to ad valorem by 1 year. As of right now, the decision is scheduled to be made in March. They're looking to make a decision, however, with some pushback from all of the municipal leaders, simply because we stand to lose several millions of dollars. Spring Lake is in position to lose $1.4 million in sales tax revenue every year. And so they petitioned Mayor Warner and Mayor Turpin. They petitioned the commissioners to extend that agreement after several hours of negotiation, to extend it 1 year, allowing municipalities to kind of prep their budgets a bit more, so that we can, have some time to make up for the funds that we're going to lose. So that's what this new interlocal agreement would be, is to just, because at this point they're saying if we don't sign this extension, they're going to go ahead and approve the switch this year, and so we will be, in 2024, we will begin losing that $1.4 million of sales tax agreement. So it's basically after, 20 years of putting this decision off, they decided to give us an additional year of cushion to try and prep our budgets, which is beneficial for Spring Lake because we are just now starting to see the light at the end of that financial tunnel. So we really need to take as much time as we can to try and soften this blow as much as possible, because it's coming. The train's left the station. We have to prep for it as much as possible. So I am asking that the board go ahead and make a motion that we approve this new interlocal sales agreement by placing our signatures on this to stand with the Mayor's Coalition and the rest of the Cumberland County municipalities to extend the time frame for approving the the ad valorem sales tax. So I'll open it up for discussion. Alderman Lackman and then Alderwoman Cooper.
Mayor, thank you very much. I've looked as deep as I can look on here. I've looked at per capita, I've looked at ad valorem. For this to go on 20 years, this is a tragedy. This is chasing fool's gold. This is something I am not for. This is not something that I'm even, I can go along with for this to be a 2-year extension. This needs to be scrapped. This needs to be reworked. County commissioners out there, if you think this is a good deal, it's not a good deal for Spring Lake. Ms. Sanford, we're looking at giving away $1.4 million every year. I can't, my fiduciary responsibility will not allow me to go along with this. Mayor, I am not in agreement for signing this train station, waving goodbye at the train. We need to tell these commissioners that unless they can tell us what this is going for, how this benefits the residents of Spring Lake, I am a firm no in regards to this. Thank you.
Me too, but it's kind of like out of our hands.
No,
at this point, seriously.
No.
This is a 20-year process that they have extended incrementally every 4 years. It's sad that, Spring Lake is just now getting in on it at the end, but the other municipalities have had, a lot of time to think this over. It's terrible for us. We are absolutely getting the short end of the stick, but it's right now, the decision's not in our hands, it's in the hands of the county. And what we're doing with this is asking them to, they've made the decision, we're going to switch. The switch is there. It's, do we switch now or do we switch in a year? The decision isn't final, they haven't, voted on it yet, but after the discussions, it was, we can make the vote now or we can make it.
And you're right, Mayor, you just said the key word, vote. Look at who votes for and against this. And when you see $1.4 million leave the town of Spring Lake, remember who voted for this to happen.
Yeah, so, right. Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. So, I've sat here and listened to other boards here in Spring Lake discuss this transformation from per capita to ad valorem. I was also at a Mayor's Coalition when Mayor Turpin from Falcon stood up and asked them to put it off. And it is true, there are many counties that use ad valorem tax. We're not the only one. We were just given, honestly, 20 years of grace because there are other counties across the state who use the ad valorem tax distribution model. So the sad thing is we did not do anything to prepare ourselves for moving to ad valorem, but we've known since, is it 2006 that they were talking about moving to it? 2004. So it's kind of, the onus was on us to prepare for this because the counties can do whichever tax model distribution they want to do. They're over us. So
It sucks, and that's the whole reason why we're trying to get the extension, is because we just came off of 2 back-to-back 500-year floods and a pandemic on top of embezzlement, mismanagement, and so many other things. Spring Lake stands to hurt the most. So the best we can do is ask for more time to prepare. Because if they vote on this and they implement this in 2024, we're going to hurt badly, severely. And again, this is not our decision. This is not a Spring Lake Board of Aldermen or any local government, elected official for the municipalities. It's not our decision. This is a decision that's coming from the Cumberland County Commissioners. This is their choice. We're just, you know, again, like Alderwoman Cooper said, asking for grace to be extended to us so that we can try to prepare as best as possible. And that's another thing that I want to encourage the board and the staff and even the citizens to do. If you should choose to want to offer some suggestions, we need to find alternative funding sources. We need to find and start to solicit developers and look for alternative methods to bring in funding for this community to offset that $1.4 million deficit that we're going to experience. So we can look at this, we can be upset about it, or we can look at this as, you know, another challenge this board is up for. We have overcome insurmountable odds. We have done some amazing things backed by our staff. This is just one more thing we gotta jump over. You guys are, you know, the dream team, and we've done a lot. So we can look at this as, you know, something that's gonna hurt us, or it's just another opportunity for us to express our creativity, the way we work together, and get it done the new Spring Lake way. Here we go again. We can do it. We just need to get this into some more time for this interlocal agreement. So again, I will ask for consensus from the board.
Is it a consensus or a motion?
No, it's a motion. It's a motion. I'm sorry. Alderman Palacios, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. So I hear what is being said tonight, and Alderwoman Cooper, what you're saying is right. We have been at the mercy of Cumberland County for the last 20 years, and all the municipalities here for 20 years because of this sales tax agreement. And the fact that we are, you know, on track to lose $1.4 million of Spring Lake's finances hurts. And it especially hurts us because of all, as you said, the mayor, of all the mismanagement that's happened in our town, right? It's not the fault of this board, but it is the fault, and it is not the fault of Cumberland County, but it is the fault of years of, you know, not preparing. But at the same time, I do feel like we are in a hostage negotiation. We are at a standoff.
Yes.
You either approve this agreement, or we're gonna act in our March meeting to strip that money away. And it's a consensus that's required from all the municipalities in Cumberland County. $9 million gonna be taken away from Fayetteville, $1.9 million taken away from Hope Mills, $1.4 million being taken away from Spring Lake. I mean, this is a big deal. And as you said, Alderman Lackman, this is a tragedy. I'm not interested in kicking the can down the road on this, but this is what this would be doing. Would it help Spring Lake to sign this? Yes, it would, because at least for another year, we have $1.4 million. In the agreement is also any increase above that $1.4 million is gonna go to the county. So we'd be agreeing already to be giving up money. And I don't know, in my opinion, Mayor, the Mayor's Coalition has done a great job of advocating for the local municipalities here in Cumberland County. But it has not, unfortunately, been to our benefit. And as a Spring Lake resident, while we're in this situation at no fault of us, okay, this board rather, and at no fault of the county, I can't say in 2 years I'm okay with losing that. I want to send a message that Spring Lake is not ready for this, commissioners. You know, I get it. You guys we're at your mercy, and you have given us the grace of allowing this to be kicked down the road 20 years. Spring Lake is not ready to lose this money yet. And I'm sorry, but I'm against this too. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. Just remember, being against, if we don't approve this, that means they take the money immediately. They start, if we don't, I mean,
That'll go to a vote.
I'm sorry, they vote on to go ahead. It doesn't take effect until 24, so that means we will be losing this immediately. So do we do it now with no prep time, or do we just give ourselves a year? You're right, it's a hostage negotiation, but one gives us just a little bit more time to get better prepared. And you're right, any increase, so normally sales tax in any community, if there's any growth and development, your sales tax is going to rise incrementally. and a part of this agreement for them to not switching to ad valorem and getting that $1.4 million immediately, we will stay at our current, payment rate. And if we get any increase in sales, say, next year we end up at $1.8 million, that additional, $0.4 million will go directly to the county and not to us. We would still receive the original amount of sales tax dollars that we're getting currently. So if they're extending it, they're saying, well, any increase that you're getting, we're gonna take that because we're not taking that bulk at one time. So that's the trade-off for them giving us a year's extension. Alderman Lackman, is yours on? Alderman Palacios. Just wanted to make sure you're finished.
Mayor,
Alderman Lackman.
thank you. Just to kind of, to go over this again, hopefully our news media will let the commissioners' information be identified so that they can put it out there to them so that they can hear from the residents. Mayor, again, I've looked at this over and over. I do not see where this benefits Spring Lake. And so with this, we're coming up on election year. And so for that, get out and vote.
Any other discussion? Alderwoman Cooper?
Thank you, Mayor. This certainly was not put together to benefit the municipalities. Okay, so we can be clear about that. But again, do you want to say, I'm not gonna pass this, and then we are hit with this in, 24, in 23, 24, or 24, 25, because it has to be a year pass. Or do we wanna give ourselves time, to, find alternate streams of revenue? I think the audit committee is doing a really great job of finding waste in our budget and, savings in our budget. We might not get to 1.4 million, but I believe we can get pretty close, yeah. I believe at least to $1 million. We just have to, Spring Lake is known for tightening their bills. And without, I think we can do it without losing services. I don't want it to happen in a year, so I'm gonna vote for this because there's nothing else, there's really nothing else we can do.
And we're in a
Until there's a new election and they change it.
Our hands are practically tied. It's do it now or do it next year, and we don't have the cushion to do it right now. This would decimate us. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have something to add? I thought you said
No, well, I was just gonna say, our hands are tied, and it seems like they have already made a decision, and either you do or you don't, so, I think we need to do what's best for Spring Lake.
Is there any further discussion? Mr. Porter, do you have anything to add to this?
This is why y'all get elected and I get appointed.
Alderwoman Cooper?
Okay, I will make a motion to, approve the sales tax agreement, the interlocal agreement with Cumberland County sales tax agreement.
Is there a second? Mayor Pro Tem?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Were you able to get that? All right, the motion carries to sign the new interlocal agreement. We will now move on to agenda item 8F, new business, and this is for discussion of the Hillside Cemetery. I know this has been a hot topic, especially since we had the road cave in a few weeks back, which has since been repaired by DOT. I don't think I've ever seen them move that quickly. Thank you, Alderman Palacios, for the expeditious update. He was driving by at dark 30 and noticed that there was a beautiful sunset behind it. It was perfect. So and Tim. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the hard work that they put in and getting that repaired. However, it brought up a long-standing issue that's been happening in the community. So a bit of the backstory is Hillside Cemetery was the benefactors or the owners of it passed away, and they left the cemetery unattended. The Miss Ethel Clark acted as trustee inappropriately to take control of this particular piece of land and grant trustees ownership to Williams Chapel and Bethel. And I say that she did this incorrectly simply because that piece of land, Hillside Cemetery, is located in Manchester District, Cumberland County. That piece of land is technically not in the incorporated areas in Spring Lake. Now, the town does have authority to assume ownership or care of a cemetery as long as it explicitly states in the statute that it has to be in the incorporated town limits of Spring Lake. Which that piece of property is not. So the town should have never gotten involved in the maintenance, care, or transfer of authority of this piece of property. Long story short, once the ground caved in, DOT needed to get, I believe it was an easement or access road to do the repairs. I was contacted by a trustee from Williams Chapel, explicitly stating that they were no longer going to take care of the town, or excuse me, of the cemetery, and they were passing responsibility back to the town of Spring Lake. So I dug into it, and we found out, thank you to our clerks for digging through the vault and finding deeds and records that one on the deed says that Bethel and Williams Chapel are the owners of this land, so all responsibility and care is in their hands. Again, the town of Spring Lake has no responsibility to this piece of property. However, it would be in terrible taste and bad spirits for us to not do as much as we possibly can to try to assist with this situation. And frankly, it couldn't have come at a better time. The county has just received a substantial amount of funding to survey areas of Cumberland County and identify historical sites. Well, in our digging, I found that the Hillside Cemetery was developed in 1936, which is almost putting this thing at 100 years old, 80 plus years old, and it can be identified as a historical landmark. We could use funding from the state to take care of this. Otherwise, because the town cannot take ownership of this, it would be turned over to the state. The state would deem this the cemetery closed, and you wouldn't be able to enter the cemetery at all. So that means people whose relatives are buried there, they would no longer be able to go out there. And I refuse to allow that to happen without us as the town doing as much as we possibly can to preserve the history of our community, to respect the deceased and the family members of those deceased who are there. And so we are looking to have staff work with the county to identify these particular sites. Lillian Black will be another one that will be included in that survey. Lillian Black was established in 1936. And if there are any other historical landmarks that you want to see specifically identified, please send us an email or let us know. That way we can go, and this is for homes, this is for plots of land, landmarks, but we want to preserve the history here in our town and make sure that our ancestry is respected. And so we're going to do as much as we can. Again, with this not being in the incorporated area of Spring Lake, our input is limited. So I did want to make sure that we clarify that. I have spoken with, again, the trustees of Bethel and Williams Chapel, and they have agreed to hold off on allowing this to be transferred back to the state until we can figure out what we can do with the county and see if we can get this piece of land protected and preserved. That's all I have on that particular thing. Is there any discussion from the board? Awesome.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, so we will now move on to agenda, no, that was both of them. Oh, it's mayor's updates. I get to keep going. Don't you guys like hearing me talk? So, but I'll be quick. My mayor's report's really, really quick. I say that all the time and then talk forever. All right, so some great updates really quickly. The board was able to go to the town and state dinner in Raleigh, where we got the chance to rub elbows with some amazing North Carolina legislators and local elected officials. We ate some really good food. We got to dress up and take pictures. Raul is a networking all-star. He moved around that room as if, you know, he had wings on his shoes. But it was a really good time to really just, you know, kind of let your hair down and ask questions and really get some feedback and input from municipalities who have been where we are and who are going where we want to go. So moments like this it's critical for governing bodies to be able to go out and network. This is where we find alternative resources. This is where we get tutelage and instruction and mentorship. This is where we can go and, you know, find other programs and even other employees we can poach from people because, you know, we're a little short on staff. No, but that was a lot of fun to be able to go with the majority of the board. So I really appreciate you guys for coming, and thanks to the town for making sure that we were able to attend that. I told you about the delegation meeting we had with Senator McInnes. Very, very, very productive. He left out of that room with marching orders and a list on what he was going to get done for us, and has since reached out already and has begun tackling some of those really, really hard issues that we put before him. So I just want to make a public thank you to Senator McInnes for really putting in the blood, sweat, and tears to make sure that we get the ball rolling quickly on those legislative priorities, making sure that we get the proper infrastructure in place, be it human, be it technical, or in the ground, so that we can start producing in the new Spring Lake way. And you keep hearing me say the new Spring Lake way. This coin was termed at our strategic planning session we were just able to have this past weekend. Again, thank you to the staff for putting this together. Thank you to La Vista for our delicious food. And a huge thank you to Mr. Paul Meyer, who was our original strategic planning session moderator and came back again to really help us lay some groundwork and measure our goals. That was one of the biggest things, and I hope the board will echo these sentiments, to see 5 months ago the goals that we laid out, and to come back in with the same, you know, what's the poster boards, and see that we crushed those goals completely. We kind of had our head down and our blinders on, and we're just running, so we haven't really been, you know, quantifying it. But to see all of those goals be checked off, and to hear Paul say, "You guys really been moving," he was extremely impressed with the progress that we have made in the town. And again, that's why I was saying earlier, there's so much underlying distress that the citizens aren't able to see. And that's what we've spent this whole first year really tackling, is making sure that we have the means and the capacity to fix these problems, these external problems that you see. And so it was really, it was refreshing and invigorating, you know, really to see that we have come so far so quickly. So thank you to the board, thank you to the manager, thank you to all of the staff. You guys rock, because we couldn't say that we've done this stuff without you guys. It's all about the team, and we have got one heck of a team here in Spring Lake. When I tell you, you are in amazing hands with these people that I am so, so honored to serve amongst. And okay, so a few updates. Oh, Lieutenant Sutton, I'm so glad you're still here. I got a chance to stand alongside him this past was that Friday?
Yes, ma'am,
Friday. Service Start, It Takes a Village, and this was a mentorship program for the 8th grade boys at Spring Lake Middle. So I got to stand alongside Mayor Coven, the Honorable Larry Dobbins, and our very own Lieutenant Sutton, and pour into these young men. And I really wanted to highlight you because Spring Lake Middle, that particular set of group of kids were black males, young black males. So to have our police force go and help dispel these myths that are right now circulating throughout our country, that cops are bad, that they're against us, to see our police force take time out of his schedule to go and pour into these boys who are, according to statistics, 1 in 4, was it 2 out of 4 are going to go to jail? Was that the statistic? Or so it's some astronomical number of young black boys that end up in jail. So I commend again our Lieutenant Sutton for pouring into those boys and mentoring them. It was pretty funny. Mayor Dobbins kind of scared him with some handcuffs. Obviously not enough, because he says, "Who wants these?" And they're all like, "Me!" I told Lieutenant Sutton, I bet you they won't be that excited if you ask that question. But thank you again for representing our force. We are so proud of you, and thank you for your service to us. So that is all of, nope, one more, sorry. Chamber, we have a Chamber Quarterly Power Lunch tomorrow at 11:30 to 1. So if you are a business owner, a part of the business community, or just want to get involved with the Chamber, nonprofits, come out to the luncheon. Registration is required because space is limited. It is held at the Chamber office, 127 North Main Street. Now I'm done. Mayor Pro Tem?
I don't have any notes today.
Alderman Palacios.
Thank you, Mayor. So the next appearance committee is March 8th in this room at 4 p.m. That's Wednesday, March 8th. And Mayor, who's that gentleman in the back?
Oh, so
Hey there,
No longer
Mr. McCormick. What do we call you? Can we call you the Honorable McCormick too? We just want to recognize you. Hey, sir. He's our Special Olympics legend.
Retired now. All right, that's it, Mayor.
Thank you.
And the only thing I have is that on Thursday, I'm gonna be meeting with, Chief Melvin for the subcommittee for the Special Olympics. So as I get those updates, I'll make it public.
Are the t-shirts ready? Can we order t-shirts now?
I'll find that out on Thursday.
Thank you. Alderman Lechman?
Mayor, thank you. Yeah, I got 4 things to bring up. One is this Saturday, we've got the cleanup at 8 a.m. We'll be meeting at Southwinds Plaza, where we normally meet, going out and cleaning up the streets of Spring Lake. Mr. Williams, I want to congratulate you on making it tougher for us to go out there and find places. I just want to throw that out there. Tomorrow at 6:30, the Military and Veterans Affairs Committee is going to meet right here in this room at 6:30 p.m. As Alderman Palacios stated, these meetings are open to the general public. If you want to come out, you want to voice your opinion, you've got ideas, feel free to come out. The only thing you can't do, Mayor, as you said, is vote. So on this instance. Other things you can vote, but on the Military Veterans Affairs, if you're not a member, then you don't get to vote.
No voting.
Mayor, I'd also like to point out that this past Saturday, that I'm going to steal part of your thunder if you were going to use that, Alderwoman Cooper. And Mayor Pro Tem, Saturday there was a food giveaway. I kind of found out about the last minute. Weather pending was going to be 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, different things. But the Sandhills Family Heritage Association with the Carolina Heartbeats and the Second Harvest Food Bank had enough food for 500 families. And this was an awesome thing that, one, for them to be able to do this, but two, to be able to provide some protein, some nourishment to people who are food insecure, or even if it's not you, if you got a next door neighbor that doesn't know about it or is too proud, you know, it was awesome. There were a lot of people there. It was good. A lot of volunteers. It was a drive-through, folks. It was a drive-through. So when you came through and saw all those volunteers that were up there, those were people that were there to assist and to put the nourishment into your vehicles, not to stand in line for that. And Mr. Williams and Mr. Gardner, on behalf of many residents of Spring Lake, and for the people that drive up and down either Chapel Hill Road, 87, that people don't really realize how close that came to be to shutting down that artery. And then people would have been routed through 210. And the hard work that you all did through the cold weather, through the rain, through everything, to salvage that road so that people could drive, so that they could get out of Spring Lake, heading out of Fort Bragg, different places. Thank you. Tell your folks that, as a member of the board up here, thank you. Tell them they are appreciated, because their hard work helped save that road and allow people to travel through without being so encumbered that they had to take a different way or change things. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ken. Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to make one correction. It was the Community Heartbeat, which is one of my organizations, and it consists of Marva Lucas Moore, who's a local businesswoman who's from Spring Lake, myself, we are the District 12 judges, Judge Sherry Seiler-Beck, Judge Tony King, and Judge Tiffany Whitfield, Denise Langdon, and also Kathy Brown Bowen, who's a teacher here. So we started all of that with the hurricane. We did a big giveaway up here in Spring Lake, Fayetteville. And so we have continued to give back at nursing homes, schools, and we just really wanted to fill this need here in Spring Lake, because there are people who really needed it, and we really don't have any giveaways anymore in Spring Lake, like in the Spring Lake proper area. In surrounding areas, yes, but not in Spring Lake proper. So I want to thank everybody who came out. I mean, there were so many volunteers. We had more volunteers than we had food, but we were happy to have them, and we had a good time. So we do plan to try to do that again in about 2 months. So it was a little confusing because of the weather. So, but we hopefully we won't have to do all of that changing. But thank you everybody who showed up, and I hope many people were blessed. As far as my work with the board, I did attend the town and state, and it was my first time going and having that many board members there with me, and we had the best time. Something to do with a cat, I don't know, it was my phone there. But I then had to transition and move on to Chapel Hill for 2 days for the North Carolina League of Municipalities Board of Directors meeting, where we were given some tips on hiring in small towns, some things we can use to make it better working in a small town, because we know we can't compete with a Charlotte, a Fayetteville, or Raleigh. So, you know, we talked about tips to help us with hiring here. And they introduced a new fire department risk assessment program. I believe our police department is currently going through the police department one. It is at no cost to the town, and it's very comprehensive. So I've asked Mr. Williams to look into asking if we can get that done for our fire department. And we also talked about software assistance for the town, because we do need some, and some technical assistance. And lastly, we've got City Vision in Concord coming up April 25th and 27th, and I'm hoping that several of us can attend that, because again, That's where you get most of your information is from networking, talking to other people. So City Vision is in Concord, April 25th and 27th.
Mr. Williams?
I don't have a whole lot. Odell Road, at the end of it, everybody knows March 1st, the water will be cut off again so they can finish that stuff in the housing development. People send me stuff, and I think it's a great idea. And I had a citizen send me something and said, "Hey, what about that sign again?" And I was actually on the phone when I did that. So that means it's getting out. They see what we're doing, and I appreciate stuff like that. I mean, I love getting feedback on stuff that we need to see stuff in town. This is y'all's town. All we're doing is trying to manage it. It's different seeing it from this side than many other sides. You know, I've been started as a fire chief, fireman, moved to a fire chief, and now I'm on this side. It's really, what you see is totally different on this side. So we need your help. Anytime you see people dumping, you see trash, you see whatever, let us know these things. This is your town, you know. The team that we have here is really shaping up. They're really doing a great job. Street department, the streets are looking so much better. They're getting them right. They're supposed to be doing what they're doing. Tim's team is out there trying to get every water leak fixed in the world. You probably never get them all done, but I mean, it's things like that. And the young lady said it earlier. I mean, this town is taking off, and it's just going to be. But we have to be a whole team when we do it. It has to be everything. You guys, us, it's everybody. You know, this board and myself and the people we have working here, it's just not enough to make this town great, and we need your help to do all that. So anything you guys can do, let us know, and we can help you, and you help us, and let's make this one of the best towns that people want to come to and live in. And it all goes back to you guys.
Absolutely.
And Sergeant McCormick, thank you for your service. You spent a lot of time here. I worked with you a lot in some of that stuff, and you sit out there many times for taking drugs from Walgreens and all, and I want to say thank you from me. I appreciate what you did when you were here. Yes, sir.
Mr. Porter?
No update.
Madam Clerk?
No updates at this time.
Awesome. Audit committee? Okay, yeah, we'll do it after the music. We are now, move on to agenda item 9. We will go in, I'll extend a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 1433181 attorney-client privilege and NCGS 1433181 personnel. Alderwoman Cooper.
Nay.
So moved. Is there a second? Alderwoman Thompson.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now in closed session. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate you and
Make a motion that we come out of closed session.
Alderman Cooper,
Second.
any discussion?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
in- Discussion.
Yeah, for the public, I just wanted to say, an update for the, closed session. We narrowed down our list to applicants we want to interview, and we're yet to do those interviews. And those names will be confidential.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll now entertain a discussion for adjournment. Everybody. Mayor Pro Tem.
I make a motion to come out, to adjourn.
Alderman Palacios.
Second?
Any discussion?